that art is really creative, and I really like all the colors, but some arts don't have colors, but I like the ones that do. I like to make art because it's fun, it calms me down, and it's fun and not destructive.
It's very helpful for me that I can express myself through the art I draw.
Even if you're not drawing something that expresses what happened or what you don't want to talk about, it's a place to put your feelings about it instead of telling them to someone.
I'm not always perfect at everything. I try stuff. If I don't like it, I retry stuff. And if it's not the way I like it, then I keep retrying it over and over until it's the way I want it.
So integrating the arts is it's an additional component of an educational environment, and it's really difficult to fit it all in sometimes when there's pressures from the district, the state, federal government about what needs to be covered and how it needs to be covered. I think that we can use the arts. I think we do it quite well to sort of hit all those things, but sometimes teachers have a tremendous level of pressure to say, well, I have to get through this curriculum or I have to teach it this way. And we're really trying to break the mold on that, but it's definitely worth it because I think that it really engages students. One of the statistics that I often show is that as a school, all schools do this, we keep office discipline referrals. So when students struggle or have a hard time, have some challenging behaviors where they need support, we keep track of all that information. And during times of artistic experiences or arts engagement, students are not coming out of the classroom for those needs because they're truly engaged in their learning. So to me, it's we should do it all the time. I mean, I think it's 1%, 2% of our office referrals are during artistic experiences or artistic arts integration units and things like that. So we should do it all the time, in my opinion. And so what we've noticed is as they go through the middle school and the high school, teachers 10 years ago would say, we know that's a Wheeler kid because of the behavioral challenges they would often express. And now they say, we know that's an IAA kid because of the way they engage in their community. They're very community-oriented, very collaborative.
I am an art therapist, which basically means I work with people of all ages. I think the youngest I see is 6, and the oldest is probably in their 60s, and use art as a tool for understanding emotional experiences and events in their lives that might cause some distress. And I do that because I love stories. I think that people are fascinating and lead really interesting lives. And I know for me personally, being connected with people in that way and hearing their stories and helping them make meaning of their experiences gives me a sense of fulfillment. Another benefit of art and healing is that there's some really cool science out there about how when people are engaging in creating images or drawing, coloring, whatever it might be, that the brain has access to deep set memories that the verbal parts of our brain does not have access to. So asking a person a question about a trauma that happened to them, they might not be able to answer with words because the center of our brain that controls speech is not linked to traumatic memory or to emotional memory, but the creative center of our brain is. And so even if they're not drawing the trauma, if they're drawing anything and you're asking about it, it will come up.
We just think that the arts, the skills embedded in it, just creates more social emotional learning for students. The collaborative process, the curiosity, the creativity, all those soft skills that students really need to just perform in life.
you find that children do end up, drawing, or they'll act out scenarios with toys until they master it. I remember seeing kids after 9/11 in school playing, and they were like, "There's a burning building, and the firemen are coming to put it out." But they were mastering like this whole idea emotionally of, somebody will come help me, because the firemen would come and put the fire out.
And I specifically remember one student who there was any medium you could use, collage, you could paint it, you could use markers, and he did like the thinnest line of Sharpie marker little drawing with the word home in the middle. And his mom had been really involved in the flood recovery effort. And so when she came in and looked at how we had it displayed, and I think hers was set near his, because she just burst into tears because the word in the middle was home, and she was never home during the recovery. She was gone all the time, I mean, it was like I had never experienced that much emotion.
Oh my God, yeah.
From people ever in an art exhibit.
There was a girl who came to us who used to bring her book to camp. She started out as a young child with us doing camps, and any moment that she wasn't being worked with by one of the teens or one of the adults involved, she would open her book and pull away from us all. And through, I think, just doing a few productions with us, a few camps, but also she did another production, I remember, at a small private school, and then became a regular fixture in our show, signed up for everything. I saw her more and more come out of herself, and saw her then starting to want to have leads. Like, instead of just being kind of unnoticed in the process, she wanted to step out and be noticed.
I had a kid I got my kids looking at monologues and teaching them how to dissect the monologue and understand emotion and how that can help them in their spoken word performances. And a kid just really came out of his shell. This big, burly guy, really big. He really came out of his shell. His classmates were really like, yeah. Every time he would do something that was really emotional. And I saw him be proud of himself. And he hugged me afterwards, and he's like, "You coming back for the rest of the year, right?" Seeing kids believe in themselves and believe in their abilities. That's what I walk away with.
There's a story that I like to tell, that there was a student who had just come here, been in the country for just a couple of weeks from Somalia, I think by way of Kenya, in a refugee camp, and then a highly intensive needs special ed student, a student with great deal of needs, low verbal acuity, and they were doing our strengths program together, and they were helping each other out. I can't think of any other academic engagement where they would have been able to sort of communicate in that way and support one another. Like, you would put a math worksheet in front of them, but the differences in languages and developmental abilities, they would have had no really engaging conversation, or no way to engage really authentically. But through this experience, they were able to connect, support one another, and develop a relationship and a rapport where they otherwise might not have been able to.
People tell me every single day, "Oh, I'm not an artist," or "I can't draw." And I think that's just a belief that is an unfortunate belief that some people embrace. I think that every single person is an artist. Maybe they're just arranging things on their dresser in a certain way, or maybe they're picking out clothes. But by making those choices, you are making creative and artistic decisions. And I do know that I have seen people come in and say, "I'm not an artist," and in an hour they've done some incredible painting that everyone else is kind of aghast at, and they've surprised themselves. So I do think that art is accessible and approachable for every single person.
I believe that art is important because it is through art, whether it be literature, whether it be TV, whatever, that I first got glimpses of how other people live. And I think once we learn about other people, it allows us to empathize. And once we empathize and learn, we no longer have that xenophobia can disappear. That fear of the unknown can disappear. And especially in my classrooms of color, where they don't really see representations of themselves much. When I'm in my classroom with, with predominantly white kids, now it's my chance and opportunity to expose them to things that they may have never seen before. And that becomes important. So at one point, my focus is representation, and another point, my focus is sort of kind of experimentation and exploring and showing people different things and different cultures. I think only art can be that versatile and can get people to open their minds that much and experience themselves and experience other people in that way. So I think that's why it's important. And I hope it continues to be important. And I hope that people continue to use it for that type of magic.
I want to write. No, not like that silly. Not the little dizzy scribbles that pass for a grade. The first winter's snow out the window kind of writing. The sniff of green kind of writing. The spray of the waterfall over the cliffs kind of writing. When you speak words those people will listen to, not just hear. The kind of writing that leaves a sprig of imagination to grow. The kind that bubbles up inside you and you're brimming too full to the top, and it seeps out of your skin and your hands and it gushes out of your fingers. I want to write the future and the present and the past and what matters. I want to write the colors of the rainbow and the birds in a V on the autumn wind and the crackling of a fire in the woods and how writing is supposed to be. I want to write understanding. I want to write without edits and mistakes and drawbacks and spelling and standards. I want to write. Now do you get it, silly you?
Art moves the world in a positive and healing direction, almost more than anything else that human beings do. More than industrial progress or technological progress. So many of the technological mediums, like our smartphones and our, all of our different, glowing screens, we utilize them to share pictures with each other, to share stories with each other, to share music with each other, or to just collect it for ourselves to enjoy. And that's just sharing of art.